Hello, everyone. This is Revan, Founders Decoded podcast. Today we have Dr. Nancy Lee. We have a very special guest here. Thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me, Revenge.
Thank you very much, Nancy. And she's an award-winning director of product, YouTuber, the host of Product Insider podcast. She has been featured in Forbes. She has finished PhD in 3.5 years in material science from BU. She has been a pillar of product manager community, aspiring 100,000 plus product managers to reach their goals through her company, Product Manager Accelerator. I'm one of her students. Now I'm doing the Founders podcast. So let's dive deeper into Dr. Nancy Lee. And how did the journey start from your PhD?
Yeah, thank you for having me, Revenge. And of course, when we get started, always everyone has the same journey. But what made me most excited is today you are my students coming back here and having a conversation with me. So regarding a PhD journey, and actually I moved to the US with only $800 in my pocket to pursue my PhD. That was material science from Boston University. And within 3.5 years, I became one of the youngest engineering PhD from Boston University. At the time, I didn't really think about my journey as an entrepreneur or as a product manager. It's mainly thinking about how can I literally land a job and start a new life in the US. And it wasn't planned at all regarding where I am. But at the time, well, what I really wanted to become is how can I empower education? I remember even when I was doing my PhD, all I was thinking about was how can I help people like me back in China? Because I grew up very poor back in China, and my family never had a family vacation until when I was age of 20. When I was young, my parents mainly focused on two things. How can they reinvest into education, and how can they put food on the table? So even during my PhD, I literally told everybody saying that in the long term, I really want to create my nonprofit, helping all those people from low-income families who never get those advanced education. I felt I was the lucky one who was able to study in the US. So that was just basically starting my PhD and getting scholarship, or I had no money at all to study in the US. So that was just a beginning, humble beginning, and never think about the future, to be frank. It's mainly landing a job and have a bigger dream for the long run.
How was like when you had $800? I would be definitely scared. What was your backup plan?
Yes, to be frank, backup plan is going back to China. There was no turning back. And at the time, I remember I was only getting paid as a PhD student for $1,400. It was literally very broke. So everything in front of me was like, I spoke broken English. Nobody understood me, and I don't know how to make jokes. I don't understand American culture. Everything feels extremely difficult. I said, well, let me keep the ball rolling. Worst case scenario, I'm going back to China.
You have planned, like, after your PhD journey, or even during, that was like really accelerated journey. You have how did you shape yourself to complete PhD in 3.5 years, do the aggressive timeline, and reach that goal to be finisher of PhD in 3.5 years? Like, it is very inspiring. And how did you translate that to your future journey?
Great question. Again, finished my PhD early wasn't planned either. What I remember at the time, I started my PhD in 2009. That was just at the beginning of the 2008 recession. And I remember at the time, all the schools, they do not have funding. They cannot have any scholarship for anybody, but I was very lucky. I believe I got 5 offers, all with scholarship. Just really figure out how to really get into university. I can talk about this in a different episode, but just got in first. But once I got in, I realized that I was behind other people. Because my undergrad was in textile engineering. Basically, I learned how to make fabric, clothes. But my PhD was in material science. So I knew I must take a different approach. So the approach I took is, number one, I must start to associate myself with someone smarter than me. Which means because I'm already behind, who is smarter than me? So I went to Boston University at the time. So I decided to cross the river and went to MIT. So I made lots of friends at MIT and also crashed MIT Career Fair. I also landed my very first interview at Apple at MIT Career Fair. So basically leveraging resources from other schools, especially people who are smarter than me, because I believe the saying that you're the average of 5 people around you. The second thing, what I did regarding my PhD to accelerate faster, and it's also basically investing in myself, learning everything, learning writing skills, and also all the research skills, what it takes to do a PhD, and especially when you start to defend yourself, public speaking when you start to do a PhD thesis for dissertation, you also need to learn the public speaking skills.
Yes.
So basically continuously to improve myself to the next level, and figure out how to write more papers. So eventually I wrote eventually I published 14 different papers, and then finished in 3.5 years.
What was your breakthrough there? Like in PhD, like you felt like this is going to be the experiment in material science?
Scientific breakthrough, I had 2 breakthroughs. One is personal breakthrough, the other one is scientific breakthrough. So scientific breakthrough is that we studied and innovated the nanometer polymer layer skills. So which means for any Silicon Valley chips, all the NVIDIA, all the chips at NVIDIA, very fancy advanced chips, right? Or even computer chips using our Apple computer or iPad, iPhone. All the semiconductor chips, they need to make it very thin. And when they write the code on top of the chips, it writing on top of a layer of polymer. Yeah. So the thinner the polymer is, the more information they can write. So make it very nanometer scales. Our thesis is actually figure out the dynamics of the changes of behavior polymers when it's reached to 1 nanometer, 2 nanometers, 3 nanometers. Because the thinner it gets, the faster moving around as a polymer. And so it's harder for the semiconductor company to write very detailed chips code on top of the nanometer scale. So it's basically PhD research. What we did.
You're also telling about personal breakthrough. What is it?
The personal breakthrough is quite interesting. So I told you I changed my major. So the first year I studied really hard, but I consistently only can get in B. It's very difficult. And one day my PhD advisor went into my lab and saying that, I don't think you have the intelligence to become a PhD. She literally said it to my face. And at the moment I sat on my chair, I was like, my goodness, she just said, I'm dumb. Like, pretty stupid. Did you just insult me? This is crazy. So I just wait on my chair, think about what do I do next. And especially your PhD advisor saying that you don't deserve to become a PhD means she's going to fire me tomorrow. And then after she said that, she left the room. I was like, crazy stuff going on. So pause for 10 seconds. Then I just made a sudden decision. I stormed out of the lab and stopped her on the stairs and saying that it's my decision to do a PhD, not yours. I'm going to prove it to myself if I can get a PhD or not. And I only need half a year. It's not going to change overnight. I need half a year. So I'm going to prove it to myself. If I don't even think I'm smart enough to get a PhD, I'm going to quit myself, not you asking me to quit. Then the rest, she was like, okay, give it half a year. And I started really hard using the methodology I mentioned earlier, leverage all the resources, hang out with people smarter than me, and really study all different skills. And then that accelerate my growth and actually land a PhD in 3.5 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That is very inspiring. Because like I also had a similar moment like you. And end of December, I moved to New York and also work and raise the startup. That's how I am.
Wow. What inspiring stories. So I call that moment, do not take no for an answer. And to me, I call that life-changing moment to me. Literally, I literally have no backup plans except going back to China. But I don't think I was smart enough at the time, just really thinking about do not take no for an answers. We should control our own journey. I'm very inspired by you that both labs. It's like, give you a PhD acceptance letter.
Yeah. And then like I had to, it was also very like, my girlfriend at the time was like saying, are you sure you don't, I think you made a right call, even though I was having a self-doubt. So that was like a good call. That's what I felt even now. But at the same time, like raising this startup gives me confidence that I could do it.
Awesome. Yeah,
Thank you.
whenever you see the challenges, you say, at that time, I caught those like the bluff of those professors. Now
Oh.
I can conquer bigger challenges.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, that is very. We had a similar story.
Very similar. It's crazy. Maybe professors like to say it
Yeah.
to students. I don't know, to push them harder. Maybe that's a strategy.
Yeah, I think so. Like they're gonna see how the students are working at the same time. Like in the end, like the professor was kind of inspired because like he did not know that I know less about like experimental quantum computers and physics about it. He initially thought that I was like super expert in quantum computing in experimental physics, and I was like, no, I'm not an expert in quantum physics. Otherwise, I would have been already at your place. And that was like my literal reaction.
Wow. Proud of you. Very similar path.
Yeah.
No wonder now you're on your entrepreneurial journey now.
Yeah. I started, so let's see how it goes. And
You'll do very well.
fingers crossed. And yeah, next, like after material science, you took a job at product manager position instead of continuing in material science position. Why is that so?
Because in my first internship during my PhD, I realized that it took about 15 years to take any research from lab to the market, at least for the material science field. I was like, 15 years, my kid already in high school. I was like, wow, then I have a story to tell your kids. Your mom, 15 years ago, invented something. Now it's in the market. I feel like it's too slow. Email is way too slow. All the research stage is just 10 years out. So I really want to make it fast. And then I look around what industry, what kind of professions actually can accelerate the growth. Tech, number one. And then what kind of profession in tech is able to leverage both technology and people skills, which is product management. And I just falling in love with product management. It is literally the best career ever found. I will never leave this profession in the field of product management. This is literally the best thing ever. It's very, very rewarding.
I agree with you. Like even working with the team, developing engineering products, like I feel this is one of the best jobs. At the same time, like building the startup, like your course kind of taught me to how to look at on a bigger picture, as well as go into detail, how to solve in that case, what do you do like when there is a micro problem as well as a macro problem, and how do you do a business approach? Because like I follow closely with customers. That was like one more thing I felt like I need to develop all these communication skills right out of masters, because masters, when I was working in research lab, you had a different style of communication. And once you come out of it, like you have an entire different style of application, communication in job market. Then like I started talking with random people on the street, networking, made a lot of friends through networking, but still have like close friends from who lived in the same house.
And that leads you to your product management journey and entrepreneurial journey as well.
Journey.
Awesome. And I believe product managers and entrepreneurs have a 70% overlap in terms of roles, responsibilities, what they do with the product, finding product market fit. It's literally 70% the same. The other 30% is more about finding money, finding funding, taking the risk, and recruiting people working for your team. That's more entrepreneurial excitement and also unlimited upside for entrepreneurs as well.
I agree with you. I agree. Like when you build a product as well, like the current thing is like trying to bring in the right people. A few weeks ago, like one thing that happened to me is like when I'm building the product, so talking to vendors, at the same time, I had to have like so many phone call conversations just to explain them that or something like that. So then I met a hospitality consultant and she messaged like 10 people in just 10 messages, and everyone was like immediately reached back to me and said, I want to know more about that. Do you have just in one paragraph? Send it to me. After that, they became part of my channel, I would say, building business on it. And then like I'm like, do you want a job?
You make her offer.
Yeah. At the same time, like we became like business partners at this point, helping getting all the data of New York vendors before we launch out. That's the story, what is happening right now.
That's awesome. Finding the right partner is actually very critical, very important with the same mission. Really push through it, especially at the beginning of the launching of the product. This is awesome.
Yeah. I got inspired from your journey, so some of credits goes to you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we all work together. Actually, inside of Product Manager Accelerator communities, I have several of our students start their own company as well. Yeah.
Yeah, one person reached out to me saying like they made a gym app. At the same time, like at that point of time, she was living in New York. I forgot her name, but she also seen that I was a founder, and she messaged me, and I was like, I'm building that, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, next time you're in New York, we should meet. And I was like, yeah, sure. And I forgot until this moment.
So our students in New York, is they all loop together, because when we teach you guys, you need to start with product portfolio, right? So for product portfolio, part of the concept is, let's assume you're CEO of a product. What kind of product would you build? Because it's the same kind of skill set anyway. So as they're building the app, they start to just connect with other people. I think I know who that is. She's doing some like ClassPass competitor.
Yeah.
App, right?
Similar to ClassPass.
I think it's her.
Yeah, I think it's her too.
Awesome.
Yeah. Talking about product though, like when it comes to founders, I also see that you're a Techstars mentor. How do you think founders should develop a product like that is a $1 billion product in a sense?
Great question. So I will start with 3 steps. Number 1, for all the startup founders, the most important thing is finding product market fit. However, lots of startup founders use the wrong methodology. If you go out today to see all the founders, literally, you ask any founders, and how many customers did you talk to before you build product? They'll be like, 5, maybe 0. I was thinking about this. I talked to a few. In reality, inside of the Techstars, we encourage all the startup founders to interview 100 customers before they even start building it, because they need to see a pattern. They also need to understand if customers are willing to pay for it or not. So there's a very important trick, which I want all the startup founders to do, which is number 1, when you go out to do custom interview, do all the product management accelerator like skills, the template we gave you guys, but ask a very important question. If they said, oh yeah, I love your product, or you're solving the right pain point, you know what? I'm launching my product in 3 months from now on, or 6 months from now on. Would you like to put on some deposit to get early access? If I end up not launching it, I send money back to you. If I launch it, you get like 80% discount, whatever, huge
for
discount.
the 1 year.
Yeah, for the first year, whatever. So this is really important strategy for all the startup founders to really test out. Do people are willing to pay for it or not? Because during the interviews, I want a fantastic product. When you really want them to take actions, lots of people step back, and because they have life priorities, other priorities, which means that the urgency is low.
Yeah.
So therefore, when you really test out, so you're really willing to pay for it, and then even knowing that I'm launching it in 6 months from now on, or 3 months from now on, so which really means that they have a high urgency, they're willing to take a risk, and knowing that, well, they're having big 80% discounts, so they're on the ride with you, they can provide even more feedback earlier, when you're building MVP as well. So literally, this is the best way to really find out product market fit. Number 1 thing. So number 2, for all the customers, for all the startups, when you try to build the $1 million business, what I want to focus on is there is a framework everyone needs to follow. Is when you are building those products from $0 up to $1 million. So when the framework to follow, which is in order to reach $1 billion, the first $1 million, or maybe the first, you can measure based on dollar sign, maybe the first $1 million investment. My point is this first initial stage. All you can do is really focus on targeting your primary, number 1, most important customer segmentation, and make sure you solve the great pain point and continues to offer the same kind of offer to make them continue become paying customers and even bring more people in the specific one customer segmentation first until you reach 1 million revenue or 1 million investment, 1 million something, the first stage. Step number 2 is once you hit 1 million, we need to focus on how to grow the lifelong customer. Hold on, go back. Once you hit $1 million, you need to focus on how to scale your company and increase lifetime value of customers, which means that the first time they step in to purchase product once or try your product once, how would you help them to spend more money in the long run, become recurring customers, and maybe purchase other product offerings within the same company? The company can continue to grow, leveraging existing customers because they are your number one fan. They already purchased first product, and then whatever the second product you launch, they are more likely to trust you. And if you are the right company can solve the right problem for them, they're way easier, 10 times easier than acquire new customers, which is also going to lower your customer acquisition cost for new customers as well. So think about how to grow on your existing customer base as well. And then once you pass that space, of course, always trying to continue scale your top of funnel. Top of funnel, when we talk about GTM, which is top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel, inside PMA, the concept, right? Yeah. So lots of things I talked about earlier, it's more about middle funnel earlier. So how would you increase lifetime value of customers, or bottom funnel, become recurring customers? Now, once you already make your middle and bottom funnel big, you should go top of the funnel, which means how would you have billions, millions of people know about your product, and so that at that time, you already build the foundation very well. You know how to deliver a product. You know exactly what they want. You already have a strong customer supporting success team, and you have customer testimonials who already started using your product and buy more product and tell everybody about it. And then once you spend marketing budget, in this case, could be running ads, could be also doing more collaboration or affiliate marketing, all of those. And then you can increase the top of funnel much faster. And at the time, you already have higher profit margin because I mentioned in step 2, you should increase lifetime value of customers. So you have lots of cash you can reinvest in your company to grow the top of funnel. And then after stage 3, your entire funnel will be built. And it's going to be very smooth. Same thing as when we build PMA right now, we already finished our funnels in terms of helping our customers to grow. Now we're launching management product to increase lifetime value of customers. Same thing, we're introducing AI product management course in June 2024. When you publish this podcast, probably it's already out. So I even have students prepay AI course before I even launch, 3 months ahead of time. So I'm launching this, I'm telling what's about it. I can prepay. All right. Cool, you get a discount. Let's do this. So that's the process to grow your company and scale it.
I love that, like in both like business approach as well as like a product approach. And how do you think like founders should focus on? Because like you talked about, one, how to grow business as well as getting the customers, and 2, while designing the product, on what centric, like focusing on key customer pain point. And when you have a team of founder, let's say you're wearing many hats as a startup, so what should they actually focus on from the day one? What is your thoughts on it?
Okay, so let me recap your question. Do you mean at the beginning of building product, beginning of building business, 2 different things, or both, or anything?
Both, I would say.
Great, cool. I would say starting from day one, the number one thing is some not to do's. Not to think about how money you're going to make in 10 years from now on, and not to split the equity too tight or very, very, very tight at the beginning with your co-founders to, oh, you do this, you do this, you do that. I personally have failed 4 startups before I start PMA. And all my old startups is based on, hey, how can we all together make money? If your goal is just to make money with a group of people, you defeat the purpose of starting your own company. So therefore, at the day one, I recommend all the founders to focus on what really excites you. What can help you to focus on solving the problem for a group of customers for long run, even if you're not making money, assuming for 10 years or 5 years or for many years. Don't really think that far out, because 94% businesses actually fail in the first few years. So most of them fail anyway. So therefore, if you focus on how can you make lots of money in 10 years or billions of dollars, 99% 96% of chance you're going to fail anyway. So therefore, don't think that way. So think about, is this something I want to do in the long run, even if I don't make money? That literally changed my mindset starting PMA. When I start PMA this time and learn from my mistakes, instead of, let's have founders figure out what's your equity, it's too much going on. I'll be like, you know what? If I'm not getting paid, am I still going to do this for the rest of my life? I was like, yeah. I love teaching. I love to sharing through YouTube and different kind of free resources. And I like to coach people on the side. And I do want to bring the nonprofit to China to help kids from middle-income families, teach them entrepreneurship. And this is always my lifelong goal the whole time. So given that's my lifelong goal, why don't I focus on doing something that's really meaningful and think of money later on? Which is everything planned out that time. Just like this, really do something that made myself proud, made my student proud, help them succeed, and then money will follow. So all the startup founders need to focus on serving your customers starting from day one. And that's something you're very passionate about.
I agree with you. Initially, when I started the startup also, not this one, I had another idea just on food boxes, but at the same time for university students. Then I came to know about food regulations. And initially I was like, oh, you type with different universities. You have to follow. You'll get money in no time. And then out of me and my friend went on a hike and just kept on talking about potluck. And how this app started was on potluck and how can we make it better instead of using Google Sheets and all the stuff. But I was like, I need something bigger, not just potluck. I need clients. I love talking at that point of time. I need bigger. And then I started talking to restaurant owners, venues and all the stuff. And they were like, I need help. It was end of COVID and I need help. And I was like, I know some people. I could get host an event. Maybe that is helpful for you guys. And at the time, USC was there, several other labs I know. So they kept on hosting in the same venues.
Oh.
And
this is how you get your first customer.
Yeah. Even still and now, I have kept in touch with all the vendors that I've serviced in the past. And in Palo Alto, I came across again a similar problem after 1 year later in COVID. We love it, but at the same time, we need we don't want to be looted. So, okay, let me think. And then I started creating a marketplace approach, suppliers as well as vendors, as well as customers. So all three kind of complete the circle. And maybe I could create that. One thing about marketplaces is growing everything is hard. So what I did is I used the internet data aggregated, but at the same time, I talked with the suppliers because suppliers' internet data is not there. So I talked with them directly in going to farms or farmers markets or farm bureaus. So they just pitched the idea to that farm bureau and they were like, we're happy to give it to this restaurant. We are giving Cisco most of our produce and not making too much margin on. And restaurants actually pay a lot for good produce than Cisco. So I was like, okay, I know these companies. So okay, maybe this should be an organic farm to table kind of produce. So maybe helping them connect. How do I put everything together? So that's how the startup started. At the same time, thinking about your approach, when we met, I was figuring out that problem that helped me. Yeah. Founders do listen to Dr. Nancy's tips.
Come to my YouTube channel and learn lots of free product management content come to my YouTube channel and learn lots of free product management content by searching Dr. Nancy Lee, Director of Product. You can find lots of free content over there. And also we have Product Insider podcast. And actually I bring lots of tech leaders such as the VP of Product from Google and Senior Director of Product from Google and all those amazing companies sharing how they start the companies and also scale the company and into those large companies. And lots of people on my podcast, actually, they were startup founders before, and the company was bought by Google, then grew with Google together. So they have seen small and large scale of growth as well.
Yeah, that was good, advice. That was really great advice for founders.
Yeah, especially at the beginning, people thinking too much. I fell for it. It's money, whatever, overthinking.
Yeah, I also did the same. Basically, follow the money, or like how, yeah, at the time, like the friend was also building art business. At the same time, I was like, don't follow the money, don't follow the money. And then like when I started my own thing, I was like, am I following the money? Then I realized, yes.
Money follows you.
Yeah. And there was like a movie dialogue, like, don't follow the money, just keep working, success follows you.
Yeah.
So that's where like I was like, okay, I don't know whether it will work or not, but I kind of like working on it. And at the
It
same
is
time,
so true. It's always true. So, the crypto thing,
yeah.
I taught a crypto course in 2018 or 2017, long time ago. So I was in crypto a long time ago. And at the time, one of my 4 failed startup was start a crypto company, failed miserably. I was at the time, oh, you know what? I can just make lots of money with crypto. Lots of people make lots of money in crypto.
Yeah.
Like also like crazy success story. People doing ICO, initial coin offerings at the very, very beginning. And when me jump in, I gonna make so much money in crypto as well. And especially at the time, the very few female co-founders who also got PhD and also very knowledgeable in the crypto space. Majority of people in crypto are all men, even today. So it's like, I'm in a perfect value proposition. I can make so much money. Once I make so much money in crypto, I donate those crypto money into nonprofit to build my nonprofit dreams. I will always think about the weird loop, making money and donate back into nonprofit, make money, donate back nonprofit. It's a forever loop. So that one is never succeed because whenever I saw challenges, building any company is challenging, even for crypto company at the time. I would just quit, or I would just delay the process solving the problem, because my goal is actually thinking about the nonprofit, make money from crypto and give back to nonprofit. The goal is not never making a crypto company successful. It's more than make money putting back in. It's like forever loop. So after, and of course, unsuccessful, and now I joined a crypto VC firm that we are helping crypto company in different ways, which is more in alignment with my own mission related to helping startup to grow and giving free entrepreneurial and product management education to people who are from low-income families, which is more closer to my dream, and everything flows naturally.
Yeah. When you follow the dream, like everything flows naturally. That's what I felt like compared to when you go after money. So like this is one more example I would give. Follow your dream. Like my dad also built like multiple industries back in India, and his goal was like just to feed people in the community. So like they have currently 100+ workers working with them, employees working with them, and they take care of like all the employees, whatever they need, at the same time like pay good salaries according to Indian standards. Like the key takeaway is like follow your dream. That's all.
Money will follow, success will follow.
Yeah. What kept on inspiring you though? Like what was your motivation behind it, or like what kept on inspiring you throughout your journey doing PhD, building your PMA accelerator company?
So interestingly enough, actually 2 things that motivates me. Number 1 is personal growth, and second is literally, as I mentioned, the nonprofit dreams. I am not sure if you felt something in your heart before. When you top out something, you will literally cry. Your heart goes the direction. When I talk about how I grew up, the people I saw who I grew up together, who actually came from very poor background, my heart melts. Literally, there's a lot of unfair things, at least in China. If you didn't come from the family with lots of money or privileges, it's extremely difficult for you to break the glass ceilings. So it's always great motivation for me to solve problems for them. Like something I like to tell you, I think lots of people didn't know this. For example, when I grew up, we never had money. There was one instance after I moved to the US. My mom told me this. One of our friend, she came from a little bit better than our family, like richer family, put it this way, with better perspective. He went to university. He didn't study in the US, so because his family was doing well, so everything was paved out. And then one day he landed his job after university. The first day he checked in to his new job, and his boss was like, "Oh, you, Jeremy? Oh, it's the first day. Oh, come in." And the guy was like, "My name is Lynn, not Jeremy. I changed the name already." So basically, his boss calling someone else's name.
Yeah.
You know why?
Yeah.
Because the Jeremy guy, let's say original guy is Jeremy, this guy is Lynn, the rich guy is Lynn. Okay, so Jeremy was a poor guy. He never came from money. His job application material was swapped out by the rich guy's family. The poor guy, Jeremy, he landed a job.
Yeah.
Through hard work.
Yeah.
But because rich family has money, and then they just swapped out the name, swap out profile, swap out everything. Can you imagine how it's going to impact this poor Jeremy's life?
Yeah.
This is not a surprise to me because I've seen something similar all the time when I grew up, because I hang out with those Jeremy, and I was one of those people before. We never had money, and all those opportunities is that it can be taken by bad policy, by bad environment, many things, just like lots of unfair. It's not you study hard, it can work out. No, lots of time, even if you study hard, just because you're poor, opportunities were just taken away from you. This is like heartbroken for me. So this is one of the examples. It's crazy. And it's like this, you can just swap out those opportunities for other people and taking other people's job, taking everything.
Yeah.
So to me, it's always motivation. So I was one of those 1 million Dr. Nancy, little Nancy, 1 million little Dr. Nancy's out there who was able to speak in front of all of you guys who can share your knowledge. But majority of the millions of little Nancy's never got opportunity to break the glass ceiling. I got very lucky. So therefore, it's always my mission to really bring those resources to people who came from very poor background, never heard of those entrepreneurship, or even heard of this, feel like, oh, the opportunity will be taken by rich people anyway. It's lots of bizarre and unfair things happen out there. So to me, it's always how can I continue to grow my nonprofit? I need to give greater goods to people. So this motivates me to start rounds of nonprofits and companies, even giving lots of free content on YouTube. And our YouTube content, you watch it yourself, right? It is way better than even other people's paid courses.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah, we even do free resume review every Monday, 11 p.m. EST. I literally have 11 a.m. EST. I literally have some people from India at the time. 11 a.m. EST is like your, I don't know what time.
11 a.m. is around like 9 p.m.
Yeah, around 9 p.m. I have people even join from India, from Africa, different places to take free education from me, right? I just feel so empowered, even if not everyone can afford the good training from PMA. I feel like there's a greater purpose that I can do to the society. Now, another part is growth, which is more personal reason. I encourage everyone check out Tony Robbins' content. So Tony Robbins, he is one of the best inspirational speakers in the world, and basically all the president in the US is his students. He's that good. It's crazy.
Oh, wow.
So one of the principles he taught us, which is there are 6 human needs: certainty, variety, relationship, and also significance. The other 2 are growth and contribution. So each person, you can have like top 2 drivers, and actually one of my drivers is growth. So I want to grow. So each step when I create a company or before I start PMA, I was director of product, I always think about what's next. Maybe make me very tired, always think about what's next. But growing is more personal interest. People want to grow. And so always trying to figure out what's the next, that also in alignment with the mission, which I talked about earlier. As long as they combine this 2 towards certain directions, I'm pretty happy regarding where I want to go.
It is interesting, like growth is also like my motivation driver. At the same time, like problem solving. Like when I was coming to US, there are 100 employees under my dad. At the same time, like he inspired me. But at the same time, whatever the decision I make in US, it's going to directly or indirectly affect to them. That was one of like factor. I want to get their lives much better.
Because you're gonna take over your dad's business one day.
That's what my dad wants, but at the same time, like I wanted to diversify the business before take over. And I also see the unfair because like when I was coming to US, there is like very less tech startups like happened before when I was in India, like during my bachelor's. Now there are plenty, but at the same time, I see the difference is like raising money for the startup is hard. There are other techniques to raise the money. I also have faced a similar kind of unfairness. Even when I was doing internship, I used to talk to managers or like converting full-time. Some of the people got converted full-time there just because like they know someone else. And at the same time, like I was doing top research in India at that point of time. I built a microcontroller based for pacemaker, which cost like probably like 2,000 rupees or 5,000 rupees according to today's, like at that point it costed only 2,000. Now it is 5,000, which is like less than $100. And we gave it to hospital to test it out. That was like, the hospital did not care because it was coming from engineering students. But at the same time, the initiative, like someone also did different project, but they know some chief minister or son, like I don't know how he did the project, grandson, I would say, or like friend of something. So like those like level of referrals like get through, like the son of like huge businessman leader or son of like all these things. So,
So
yeah.
let me show the reason I laughed earlier was my dad did the same thing. You know why I went to fashion design school in China, studied textile engineering? Because my dad wanted to go there. It's crazy, exactly the same path. It's like I followed my dad's footsteps, and then I was like, you know, I need to define my own future. That's why I came to the US. Is parenting just want to plan, parents just want to plan everything for the children, but children always rebel and create their own version. But the example I told you earlier, it's more than networking advantage. It's more they want to hire someone else. Yeah. And the other, it's a shell. They thought was you, revenge the whole time, even through networking, and then someone else show up to work through a different name. It's totally different persona, different entities, like crazy, all the stuff going on.
But my dad like was like, how do you say, one of the best dads around. Like even though I did not tell my dad, even now also like he does not know that the reason I went through like non-business path is this. Like I told I was passionate about engineering or something. But at the same time, like I loved like pulling things apart. So that was like reason for me to do engineering and
become a problem solver is one of your drivers.
And basically like my dad gave the freedom to do whatever I wanted. But that kind of like helped me to grow. At the same time, like my mom was like, do whatever you want, but at the same time keep in mind kind of person. But she's a very entrepreneurial woman. Because when our family was in trouble, my mom went out and worked for the family. And we went to like, how do you say, we were in middle class income at that point of time. And both of them working constantly made us like work constantly. Yeah. We want to give them happy life because they gave us like a happy life until now. So at the same time, like all the other driving factors, like, oh, we don't want this to fall apart. We don't want, because like when it is a manufacturing industry, you have to not only adapt with technology, at the same time, you have clear competitors who are giving margin, or sometimes like they import cheaper product. Yeah. And that kills the competition basically. Like most of the businesses in India went through preferring better price over quality because like government had high interest on SMBs. So that's a bigger issue there. So coming back, a lot needs to be changed back there as well. I'm slowly working on it. Hopefully we'll achieve our goals on.
Yes. Create our own path.
Yes.
Awesome.
And finally, what is the final message on building billion-dollar products or getting a PMA job or strengthening career for the listeners?
Great question. So number one, everybody must start trying, because taking actions is the number one most important thing that remove confusions. Because you might be thinking, do I want to become entrepreneur? Do I want to become product manager? What kind of industry should I try? Should I follow my passion? Taking actions now, whatever you think you have in your mind, spend one weekend, think of pros and cons, different things, and then immediately take action. Because in the process, taking actions, you already have half the problem, half the answers ready. And second is that everybody needs to start have entrepreneurial thinking and also product management thinking. As I said, entrepreneur and product manager, 70% overlap. If you think as if you're somebody who's solving problem for customers and actually finding out product market fit and follow your passion, you are the best entrepreneurs out there, and also going to be the most successful product managers out there, and eventually success will follow you.
I agree with Dr. Nancy Lee on her lessons are very valuable, and I would personally thank you for having today's conversation. At the same time, follow your tips constantly from your YouTube channel as well as from your course, because I'm still a member. Glad to be. Anyone interested, to reach out to her. She's very helpful. Yeah, thank you very much.
My pleasure, and thank you for having me on your show.